Hi, everybody. Welcome to Build a Quilt. I'm Diana. So glad that you could be with me today. This video is block 16 of our 24 block challenge. Now, we started the 24 block challenge back in 2025, and it's running into probably into February at least here in 2026. And it is all about one, skill building with Build a Quilt, learning how to do your blocks with Build a Quilt, which are super easy. But in the end, you end up with a 24 block library, which is so cool that you have those just at your fingertips whenever you want to use them. Now, you will, hang on just one second. You will need one of our two digital library sets, either our basic combo set in the standard size or our basic combo set in the mini size. So I'm going to show you, they're all downloads, by the way. So everything is a download for you. You don't have to wait for something to come in the mail. Instant gratification. Who doesn't like that, right? So this is our mini set. I printed mine out because I just like to keep them all in a notebook for my reference, but this also gives you a picture. So these are the 6 segments that you get in both sets. So you'll get a square, a half square triangle, and a flying geese unit. You'll get a quarter square triangle, a diamond in a square, and a split rail. So you get those in both sets. In the mini set, the 3 sizes that come in this set are 1 inch, 1.5, and 2 inch for all of you folks that like minis or like to mix smaller segments in with other sizes in your quilt to make your designs a little bit different. Great way also to use both of these together if you're going to make quilt patterns that you buy at a store that are pre-printed from another designer. And then the same exact set is our standard sizes. Half square triangle. Whoops, let's see where my finger is. There we go. Half square triangle, square, and quarter square triangle. And the flying geese unit, diamond in a square, and split rail. These sizes, the standard sizes, are 3, 4, and 5 inch, and you get some 2-inch ones in there as a bonus because this was our very first set that came out. These sets, like I said, are our library of basic segment sets. We do have some more segment sets coming out. In fact, we still have 2 more sets coming out by the end of the month of January. I know, busy, 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 but we do have those coming out. And those will be other sets that you can combine in with these sets, making even more block designs, quilts, quilted projects, anything you like. But you'll need one of these to make the 24 block challenge. So each week when a block comes out, there is a free download. It is about that week's block, fabric, what you need to make for that block. Then you go to your library, whichever one you have, mini or standard, and you pick out the pieces in the size you want. So you could make all of these blocks 3 by 3 inches if you wanted to use the 1-inch segments from the mini set. Or you could make them as big as 15 by 15 inch blocks if you want to use the 5-inch finished pieces from the standard set. So you get all of those in between. All of my samples that you're seeing are 9 by 9. That's like a nice sweet spot for a block. And when we talk about layout at the end of the challenge, how you can, different ways you can lay things out, they're easier for you to see. It's easier for me to show you and stuff like that. So I chose 9 by 9. So 9 by 9 means, since these are all 9 patch blocks that we're doing, it means I'm using the 3-inch segments in all of mine. So you'll need those, and then you would go and download the free package that comes with it. Again, a download, you don't have to print it unless you want to. I'm still kind of a paper girl. I like to have all of my stuff in files and notebooks and things like that, because it's easy for me if I'm trying to like get inspired or figure out like what block do I might want to put in with another block in a new quilt design. I just pull my folder and then I can see the pictures, kind of like going through my own Build a Quilt catalog. So I love that. Alrighty, so are you ready to talk about block 16? That's right, we're already on block 16. It really, for me, it seems like yesterday. And I'm looking at some over on the design board over there from earlier in the year. And then right here, we have some that we've done. This was last week's block number 15. This was a block earlier in the year when we were first starting. And I think we had a little naming thing on this one. And I think Twirly Whirly or Whirly Bird, something like that was the name that someone sent in. And I loved it. It fits this perfect because it reminds me of those little spinners on sticks we used to get when we were kids, and you blow on them and it spins, or you put them in the air and they spin. I know they're still out there, but like I remember them from the 50s. So that was like a big deal. We used to get them for some reason at Easter, maybe because it was springtime and there was more breeze and it was sunny. Moms could send us out into the backyard to play. And then this one we did in the fall, standard kind of maple leaf. Now there are two figural blocks, and figural means they make a picture of an object that I think every quilter needs to make at least once because they're so prevalent out in the design world. That's a leaf and a flower basket. And we've done a flower basket before too. There's lots of different designs for the leaves and the flower baskets, but this was the one that we did this year. So if you have one of the combo sets, one of the libraries, the mini or the standard, you could make this from 3x3 to fit in maybe as cornerstones, or maybe you want to make a border out of them, something like that. You could do that with that. But those were three that we've done. And then over here, I'm looking where I have them placed. I always have them out placed. So as I'm designing the new ones, I see them, because actually a few weeks ago, I couldn't believe it, I redesigned the same block and put it. So that wasn't the bad part. I actually posted it out there for you guys. I was so embarrassed when I realized it was the same block, but I got you a new one out there within the day or something. So sometimes those things happen. It was over the holidays, and a lot of you know I've been having some oral surgery and things from an accident. Still, that is still ongoing. Next round starts in February. So I just wasn't like on my game, and it was the holidays and busy and all of that, and I ended up doing the same block. And of course I realized it like at 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up like in a start going, oh, I've designed the same block. Oh well, those things happen, right? You guys were very forgiving too, so thank you so much. So this week, block number 16 is this lovely star block. I love this block. It's a fairly common block that you might see around. Now I did this where I made the star the actual background color, so it looks more like the fabric's been pierced and you're seeing through it, kind of like this one was last week. I realize now, although these colors go beautifully together, I should have, in my diamonds here, I should have chosen a fabric that would stand out more, because these values are about the same, so it really blends in together. It's a lovely block, but I think if I redid it, I would do this in a different color, these diamonds, but the fabric sure do go together. But this is kind of the same way. Normally, if you saw this block, the star itself would be in this purplish color, and then the background would be in this goldish color, but I like it this way either way. It looks great either way. And I'll talk to you about the fabric I used as well. You can use always in any of these, any fabric you have. If you want to make every single one completely scrappy from your pre-cuts that you do for Build a Quilt to prep your fabrics, and then when you have leftovers, you save them in your sizes, you can do that for sure. You can choose them to be all scrappy if you want. In every single block we've made, if you made it scrappy, it would be beautiful. And I've done several of mine actually have been just scrappy that I've chosen from my pre-cuts. This one, I specifically went into my stash a little bit, and I will I've been in the mood for spring colors. I'm starting to think about the flowers we're growing on the farm this year, our little flower farm. And I'm starting to think about those and colors and things like that. And so it's got me in the mood to choose those kinds of colors in my fabric too. So although I love winter, in fact, today we have had what they call a winter snow squall. We got like 3 inches in less than an hour. It just like dumped on us and moved off. And we're supposed to get some more snow too. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I say the more snow, the better. I love snow. I just adore it. But it got like really gray all of a sudden, like all the light went out of the room except right at my desk where I was working. And I looked up and I thought, this is how it looks when we have a really bad storm in the summer. And I went out to the kitchen and it was just blowing a winter wonderland out there of snow. So, but I'm kind of, even though I'm loving the winter and I love the snow, I'm kind of thinking about those spring colors for the fabric. So in the free download, you'll find, and this is the same way with all of them, you're going to see a larger print of the block and then a smaller version that's in the fabric that's on the cover. And then you're going to have your fabric and color and cutting sheet, which tells you, based on whatever size you want, these are how many you need to cut. And so I gave you in here, the information I gave you in here with the sizes. Those sizes are if you're going to use the 3-inch, if you're going to use a 2-inch, finished segment, or a 1 or a 5 or whatever, these numbers will change. But I gave you the information if you're still, some of you said, I'm doing the 9 inches with you, Diana. Can you just tell me what to cut? So I put that in this one for you. But it tells you what colors, and I tell you what the fabric is that I used in the sample. And then you get the segments and layout. It tells you how many segments you're making of each kind and how many. And then it gives you the layout. It starts from the basic square segments into the rows, into the finished block. And like I said, these are all 9 by 9 or 9 patches. So and then there's just the back page, which is general information about what you can't do with the pattern, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, but read it all. And so let's talk for a moment about the fabrics that I chose. So I have a half-yard bundle of a fabric by Lori Holt. It was called the B Bundle Limited Edition. And I think you can still get it like either at Fat Quarter Shop, check your local fabric shops. My local fabric shop, which is 2 hours away, does not carry Lori Holt's fabrics. I've asked them, I've begged them. Oh, actually, I take that back. Oh, I fibbed. Last year they didn't carry it, but they got a new owner. And this year she started carrying it because at their New Year's Day sale, they have a huge New Year's Day sale every year. I went over and I was able to get some Lori Holt that I want for a specific project we have coming up, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Constitution of the United States. So they do carry it now, but when I ordered this, I had to order. And typically, I'll just let you know, they don't sponsor me in any way. It's just the company that I find easier to work with, easier to get what I want. They typically have the designers' fabrics that I want, and that's the Fat Quarter Shop with Kimberly Jolly and her crew. That's typically where I order mine, and that's where I ordered this B Bundle Limited Edition. And what it is, it's kind of different ones from different collections of Lori Holt. So like, in fact, this gold one here, it's got those little bitty chickies on it, the little chickadees. This is from a different collection, but it didn't come in this color in that collection. So they recolored it for this limited edition bundle, which I love. But that one, the color's called Daisy. That makes sense, right? Pretty yellow daisies. And it's got the white design in it. The little chickens, the little chickadees. I love it. I think it's really cute. And they look like they're like scratching around looking for seeds and stuff. So that is the gold that I used in today's sample. And then the other one I used is this one. And this one came from the same bundle, but I can tell you where it originally showed up, because you might have this if you're a Lori Holt fan. You might already have it in your stash. Let me get that piece of, there we go. Couldn't get them apart. This comes from the Prairie collection, and so this one is from the Prairie collection, and its SKU number is C12302, 12302. And it is, I have a color. It's just, the color's kind of a lavendery color, but if you look super close at it, it's got that daisy colored yellow in these little circle medallion flowers. Okay. And it looks to me, when I look at it, and I could be completely out of my mind. So it looks like the medallion is a flower, but the little chickadee and the daisy color and the brown that's in it looks like a teeny tiny campfire to me. I could be completely out of my mind, but it's from the Prairie collection. So if you have that or those in your stash, or if you want to get them, you can get them in that B bundle limited edition. And I did check, Fat Quarter Shop still had some, but check with your local fabric shop first, because if they have it, of course, support your local folks. I would if my local folks were less than 2 hours away from me. So I try to do a little bit of both. All right, let's talk about how we put this particular block together. Let's talk about which segments we're going to use. So I am going to bring us under the overhead camera. So this block consists of 3 different segment pieces. One full square, just one square. This ends up right in the middle of your block. So easy peasy, right? This one is super simple, the easiest one to make. But the most common segment we use in quilting, probably for all time, I'm thinking, is the half square triangle. So you're going to be making 4 of those, 4 half square triangles. And then the cousin to the half square triangle is the quarter square triangle. And you're going to be making 4 of these as well. And the quarter square triangle is made in 2 halves. So you make them exactly the same way. You don't flip the fabrics. You don't rotate anything. You make them the same way so that when you stitch them together, the colors end up in the same place. And so you have 2 pieces and you stitch it together. All of that is in the how-to video in your collection. Although at the end of this video, there will be the little segment piece on stitching your things together, because with Build a Quilt, you do not ever have to use a 1/4 inch foot for stitching your pieces together. In fact, I tell you, don't, because it's going to throw off. I know from being a quilter for decades and decades that if you try to use a 1/4 inch and line it up and get it, it's going to completely mess up your block. All right. Build a Quilt was not created for you to use that 1/4 foot, which is kind of fun. You don't have to worry about that precision because it's all built right into the block. So on the back, the last thing you do is you stitch all the way around so that you have a line. So you put your ruler on that line and you cut it so that you have the perfect amount of seam allowance. And then when you stitch it together, that line is on the back. Stitch right down that line. You'll see it in the little how-to bonus piece right after I'm finished today. But those are our 3 segments: 1 square, 4 1/4 squares, 4 half squares. So now let's talk about the layout. First of all, let's talk about our 4 corners. Let me flip this back over so you can see it from above. It's a little easier. We have our 4 corners, and our 4 corners are going to be our 4 half square triangles. And the half square triangles have the purple fabric, or so in here I also tell you, I give them like color A, color B. So let's double check. Color A is what I'm considering this purple. It's more of a medium or darker fabric, and color B is the golden yellow or the daisy color, and it is a lighter. So if you go dark in color A, you can go medium or light in color B. If you go medium in color A, you must go light in color B so that you get that contrast, okay? All right, so we're gonna lay out our 4 corners with color A all pointing inward. We're going to take our 1 square and we're going to pop it right in the center. All righty, so there, you can see it coming together now. And now all that we have left are our quarter square triangles. So we're going to lay these out. I have to make sure that I'm getting these with the fabric going the right way. I did not. Okay, let me flip them. I always get confused when I do this. There we go. Um, there we go. There it is. So when you put your quarter squares down, you want all of your color A's to go towards the center, towards this block. The block is a color A, and you want all your color A's to touch it, and that ends up giving you your 8-point triangle. Now, the very first block that we did in this series was an 8-point star, and I'm grabbing it from over here to show it to you because we did it completely scrappy. And folks, this has been their favorite one so far. So you can see this is it. It's very similar, but this is 2 colors, very curated, and the middle is completely solid. Where with this original one, everything within this star is a different fabric, every single piece. The only things that are the same were the fabric used for the background, but it's a very similar type of 8-point star. It's a little different than when we do an Ohio star, which is also 8-point, but it's made a little differently. But that's how we lay it out. So in your download, you're going to see it represented this way. So row 1, you put this one to this one and this one to this one, and that gives you your row 1. In your second row or middle row, you attach this one to this one and this one to this one, and that gives you your second or middle row. And you do the same thing at the third row or bottom row as you did with the first. Now you'll see the next step on that page will show you 3 completed rows. Then you add the top row to the middle row and the bottom row to the middle row, and you end up with that beautiful star pattern. I really love this. This is definitely a block that you can make it and use as the main block in a quilt. This is not a block that I would probably use as a secondary or associative block within my quilt. I would use it as the main one. You could do them all in different colors where the purple is different colors, but use the same background colors, the daisy color or whatever you use, that would be beautiful. Or you could make them all the same, every single one of them. Now, I am not, let's flip back over to our main camera. I am not somebody who does a lot of sashing. I think sashing for me, now this is just for me, guys, this isn't for you necessarily, but for me, I feel like sashing takes away from a larger picture that you're trying to tell within a quilt, unless you want something to look separate from something else. If you specifically want it to look separate, then sashing would be the way to go. But I design my quilts typically with no sashing, but you could do that. And if you did, you could sash this with your color A and get more color A in there. So you still have a 2-color quilt, or you could choose a completely third color to make the sashing if you were going to sash each block within your quilt. And if you're going to do the big blocks, the 15 by 15s, the jumbo ones, you're not going to have to make very many of those to make a really nice size throw quilt or bed quilt. You probably make 16 of them maybe, and you'd have a good size throw quilt for sure, if not bigger. All right. So this is our block for week 16 of our 24 block challenge. Now, if you have any questions whatsoever, you contact me at support@sewincommon.com, and I will be happy to get right back with you and help you, unless it's the middle of the night and I'm sleeping, or I've just woken up with a start because I made the same block again. Who knows, right? But yes, go ahead and get a hold of me and I'll be happy to answer your question. Or your question is probably a question someone else is having too. So drop those questions in the comments. I love to see those and get those and answer those. And if you are having trouble with fabric choices, send me a photo in your email. I'm always happy to help you. I believe that each and every one of you can put your colors together. All of last year in 2025, we talked about color a whole lot, and I gave you some different tools to use to help you out if you weren't confident. But you get up and you dress yourself every morning, and there's never anybody I see and I go, oh my gosh, who dressed her? There isn't. Her style might be different than mine. Her color choices might be different than mine. But that's not a bad thing. We're all different, right? And we're all beautiful in our own way. So I believe you can choose your colors. But if you want me to help you, I'm happy to do that too. All right, everybody, to find your free download for the block and the libraries, because you're going to need one of them, you just need to visit our website, www.mybuildaquilt.com. All of that information is over there. Now, before we leave, I want to tell you what I tell you every week, because if I forget, you guys remind me that I've forgotten, because it's important for us to remember this. I didn't have a lot of confidence in my quilting, even though I'd been quilting at that point for like 30 years. And my husband said to me, sweetheart, you're an artist. Do your own thing. You're an artist, and everything you've never made anything ugly. It's all beautiful, and it makes the world more beautiful. And so that is what I want to tell you. As quilters, we are artists, and we make the world a more beautiful place. Each and every time we put a quilt out into the world or in our home, we make the world more beautiful. So until next time, everybody, I hope to see you tonight at Wednesday Workshop, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the YouTube channel. And don't forget, go quilt life beautiful. Bye for now.
Hi everybody, so this is Diana and I'm here at my sewing machine to show you how to sew your pieces together without getting that stitch line to show. Now you can see here I just have two little half square triangles. I've used the pin method up here at the point to make sure they're lined up, and I just have one clip here. Now what I do first is when I put this in my machine, I get my needle right to where the line would be, right on that stitch line, okay? Then I come over to my machine's tools and I take my width down by 1, and that's all. Now I'm going to put it back up, and I'm going to take you back over to here and let you see that. Okay, so watch the needle, how that moves. I'm going to move it now. See how it just moved one place to the inside, or I guess as you're looking at it, it would be to the left. That would be to the inside. Now I'm going to place my needle down, and I can go ahead and remove my clip because this is a small piece, and I can sew right down. And I have my stitch length at 1.8, and you can see now that I've already done a few stitches, it is still right one click in. It's not directly on top of it, and so I should, when I'm done, be able to finish and not have that black line sewn, and you just follow it all the way down. Now I'm going to cut my thread and bring it out, and I will open this up and bring it right back over so you can see it. So there it is, opened up. Now you might see a little of the black in this case because I used that marker, but when I I'm just going to open up my seam in the back and hold it open for you. But you can see when I hold it open, that's just a little piece of thread that I can pull out of there. That's gone. And now you don't see it at all. You don't see any of the black thread, which I used for demonstration purposes, but you don't see any of my original embroidery thread from making the patchwork itself. And that is just by moving that needle one space and one space only. And again, I always stitch these with a 1.8 or a 2.0 stitch length so that it really holds these together when you go and open them up. And when I open it up here, you can see the line all the way down on both sides. And that's what you should be able to do. So I hope that you found that helpful. That was a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. And now we'll move on with the rest of the Q&A for today.